Hi, I'm Mike Payton Music, and this is a Squier by Fender. It's an SA 105 CE. I purchased this guitar in 2016. I've been all around the world with it. Europe, America, Mexico, mainly those places. It's well worn. So you can see the paint there is all worn down from my playing. The frets got worn down and I had them sanded down as well. It was a really inexpensive guitar. I spent about 50 quid getting it set up, putting on a little bone thingy there and getting the action lowered as well. So I had this guitar a really long time. After a point, it was time to upgrade. This is a cautionary tale about my experience with buying a guitar from eBay. The year was 2022, and as I said, I was in the market for an electro-acoustic guitar, and for some reason I decided I was going to buy a guitar off eBay. Now there was one seller that caught my eye, and the reason he caught my eye was because he was having auctions every weekend for Tanglewood guitars and starting the bidding price quite low at about 50 quid or so. This was rather enticing, and I checked the watch list a few times, and usually the guitar would go for significantly more than the starting bid. That's how auctions work. All good. I didn't know much about Tanglewood at the time, so I decided I would do my research, and I settled on the Tanglewood TW5. I looked up videos online, and for all intents and purposes, it seemed like a good guitar, especially for the price point. Now the price point was around sort of 350, 400 mark. The seller on eBay put down a recommended retail price of £411. I decided I was going to bid on this guitar and see how I got on. Now the seller photographed all his guitars in boxes with tags on, so you would presume from that it was new. So if you click on his shop front, he explains that he used to be a brick and mortar store, but has changed to an online model to keep with current trends or modern trends. So I took that at face value. And he said the guitar could be sold as new. Now, it was in the eBay category of used. That should have been my first clue. But as I said, it was photographed in the box with the tags on. So I won this bid. I spent £190 odd on it, and it was posted out. And I quite liked the guitar. It was made of mahogany and it had quite a nice resonance to it. So far, so good. I apparently had gotten a really good bargain off eBay. That was until I broke a string. Now, breaking a string is no big deal as a guitarist, but when I went to go and change it, I noticed that the brand of guitar strings that were being used were D'Addario. And I knew this because I'd used D'Addario strings over the years. They're relatively cheap and they have this unique color coding thing on the balls of the string. So I knew they weren't Elixir, which raised alarm bells because the description on the website said Elixir strings. Tanglewood have a deal with Elixir strings, that they use Elixir strings as standard. So that was a red flag. I then left a review of the seller, and I said that I was relatively happy with the guitar, but that it didn't come with the Elixir strings as advertised. I then got a message from the seller asking me to delete my review, which I thought was kind of strange. And in that message, he said that he would post out, I don't even remember what brand of strings, but he would post out a brand of strings worth £12, which I wasn't really interested in because it was advertised as having Elixir strings, and he was offering to replace them with non-Elixir strings. Elixir strings cost about 15 or 16 quid. It didn't seem satisfactory to provide strings that cost less than that. So I replied to the seller and I told him that I would consider deleting my review if he sent me Elixir strings as advertised. He then didn't reply. I got on with the business of playing my guitar. All was okay for a while. And then the guitar started to buzz. Now, this is not the first video I've made about guitars that buzz. Unlike one of my other videos, this wasn't an electrical buzz. This was a fret buzz. But I figured I'd take it into a luthier, I'd get it set up like I had done my old guitar, and everything would be groovy. So I brought it into a luthier, and after looking it over, he asked me how many years I've been playing this guitar. That was another red flag. I told him I'd actually had it less than 6 months. I think it was about 4 months at the time. And I said I'm a gigging musician, I play guitar every single weekend, and he told me that the frets were worn down and that there was no way that my playing over the space of 4 months had worn down these frets to that extent. He informed me that fixing this guitar was probably not worth the price that I paid for it, and suggested that maybe I try and get a refund. So, a little bit shocked by this, I went home, logged onto my computer, opened up eBay, tried to log in, and my account had been suspended, which was really quite odd, and I didn't really know why. So I checked my emails, and I looked at the message that I had gotten from the seller, and I clicked the review link, and it turns out the review had been deleted. I didn't delete the review, so I was pretty confused. I contacted eBay's customer service through doing a little bit of Googling, a little bit of research online. It turns out that a seller can delete reviews if they claim the buyer has harassed them. Now, I don't see how leaving an honest review on someone's website and sending one reply to one of their messages constitutes as harassment. But then I looked at the seller's website again. Now, he has made approximately 35,000 sales and has 24,000 reviews, 100% positive. That should have been a red flag, because there is no way you could sell that many items and everybody would give you 5 stars out of 5 stars every single time. But there's approximately 10,000 people who either haven't made a review or who've made a negative review and later it's been deleted, or perhaps he's claimed harassment. So this whole experience left a really sour taste in my mouth, and from then I vowed never to buy a guitar off eBay again. It seems their whole business model favors the sellers much more than it does the buyers. And it turns out you can say whatever you want in the description. You could say it's brand spanking new, but if it's in the used section, it still counts as being used. So what became of the guitar? Well, the buzz on the guitar was noticeable enough, but it was much worse when plugged in. So I decided I would sell on the guitar on Facebook Marketplace. I can't remember exactly how much I got for it, maybe about half of what I paid for it, and I did explain there was a slight buzz, especially when plugged in. The person who bought it told me that he had no intention of gigging with it and no intention of plugging it into an amp, and then wanted just something acoustic to bash around with. So I learned a valuable lesson, and luckily it didn't cost me that much money. I know there are lots of horror stories out there where people buy custom made guitars and signature guitars and end up buying fakes. I'm not really sure what the story is with this guitar. I think it was a second-hand guitar, or possibly a factory second. I googled this seller. Interestingly, he has a couple of Google reviews, not that many, I think less than 10, and the majority of which are actually negative. So if you were buying on eBay, do your research and try not to get sold a lemon. Have you ever had an experience of buying a guitar on eBay, positive or negative? Put it down in the comments. If you've liked this video, click the like button and subscribe. Thanks very much. I'll see you later. They're a British band. They're a British... I'm so used to saying British band. They're a British brand, and Tanglewood is a British brand.